At Direct Service Garage Doors, we are your one-stop shop for all things garage door. From garage door repair and broken spring replacement to new garage doors and openers, we do it all. We're proud to be among the highest-rated local garage door companies in all of Central Arkansas. Our highly trained technicians are available 24 hours a day at no extra cost to you. So if you have an emergency, call us today, 501-244-3667, or visit our website at directserviceoverhead.com. Don't wait days. We'll fix it now.
All right, everybody. Welcome. Happy Friday. It's here finally. Let's do this. 3, 2, 1. Yo. There we go. Yeah, had planned on trying to do this thing a little bit sooner today. We I've had some information that I discovered in our Discord, actually, that just kind of happened, I guess, this morning. So first off, let me just say we've got an update on the Renfro case. We have an update on this situation, and I'm going to talk about that briefly. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe if you're new here. I know it sometimes takes a little bit for people to kind of pile in, which is another reason why we really get this thing going, a little bit. It takes a few minutes because I want to make sure we get more people in here, because then we get people in late and they're like, what the hell is he talking about? What's going on? So, and then of course that's always good too, because then they got to go back and they have to rewatch the whole thing. So there's always that option, which I'm also, I hope that I hope that you guys do. All right. I don't have any idea for an odd soul poll. We'll have to figure that out here in a minute. But shout out to Patreon supporters. Hey, if you guys are not Patreon supporters, you should be. We were close to 60 Patreon supporters at one point in time. Not too shabby, not bad. We're killing it this year. 2023 is just killing it. Subs have grown, not the highest growth rate ever on this channel's history, but definitely up there. We passed 1 million total views, and now our next goal is let's get 60 Patreon supporters. 60 Patreon supporters. All right, what's up, Cameron Gay? How are you doing? Hope all's well, Cameron. Don't worry, I won't ask about Ron Holland no more. Yeah, that situation's kind of come and gone. All right, before we get into the sponsors, I want to get you guys updated on this situation involving, well, now former Razorback quarterback. You guys know the drama, Mr. Renfro, who was Cade Renfro, who was a quarterback at Arkansas, recently dismissed from the team. There's a Twitter handle. This, again, came across on Discord. You know what I didn't do? Hold on. I did not share this in our here we go. Everyone. There we go. For everyone in Discord, I just now popped that. And, of course, it's the wrong image. I'm going to take that image off. All right. And, hey, look at Will. Will's watching this on his iPad. What's going on, Will? Working and watching. Nothing wrong with that, huh? Got my iPad ready for baseball, so I guess I'll watch Ty on here too. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So, Cade Renfro, has, his attorneys, law firm, David Wimberly Law Office. This is on Twitter. And they are real. I actually looked them up, found them, and I called them. This is a real situation. They posted 3 hours ago. They linked a website called CadenRenfroTruth.com. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram to watch the truth be unveiled. Now, tomorrow, there's no time given. I called. That was one of the reasons why I called their law offices. Then it's real. I talked to, I believe, David Wimberly's wife, Terry Wimberly, on the phone just for a brief moment. And she said it's going to blow your mind what they're going to find out tomorrow. So it's on a podcast. Hang on, let me pull this up. I don't know that they're here's link for tomorrow's in-person interview with Cade Renfro and his attorney David Wimberly. So I have the link here. Let me how am I going to share this? Hang on. Yeah, it's Big Country is the name of the I guess it's a podcast website. I don't know, but I guess they're gonna live stream this thing. So here, I'm gonna share this in our Discord, and then I'm gonna see if I can copy and paste this over to YouTube here really quick. So we're gonna know more about what's going on with the Cade Renfro situation. They said that it took them I think she said right under a week. See if this will let me post. There it is. Big Country homepage. So I guess they're gonna come out with what details they have on the Renfro situation. If you're not aware, there was I guess it was an Instagram page that was spouting off all kinds of stuff, and we know that I guess that was kind of where all this started. So yeah, there you go. There it is. Aaron Harbison with a $5 super chat. What's up, Ty? Arkansas going undefeated this weekend? That's our poll. There we go. There's our poll. Arkansas goes unbeaten this weekend? Question mark. There you go. Look at you. You gave me the $5 super chat and a poll idea. You rock, Aaron. Appreciate you. Jeremy Naylor, love the show, Ty. Hey, you know what? And you're a member. Appreciate you. That is apparently what that little join button is down below. It's to join the member page. Did the Instagram page get taken down, or is it still there? Apparently it was down for a couple of days, and then it popped back up. Someone said in our Discord, I don't know the accuracy on that. First show in a couple of weeks, had to come back strong. There you go. Appreciate it. What's Arkansas's record this weekend? I think they go unbeaten. I think they walk into their super regionals. I'm going to be real with you. I'm not about to say that Arkansas goes all the way and wins the whole thing. I'm not going there. But I am saying I really like their path to Omaha. There's going to be an extremely large crowd for Friday at 2. They're already out there. Yeah, they've been out there, Leslie, for like over a week. Not going to lie, I thought about taking my drone down there. I thought about taking my drone and flying it over the crowd. But I'm sure Fayetteville and all their endless amount of, their rules and laws and whatnot. No, I'm not going to do it. I may still go down there. I don't know. Will with a $20 super chat. Will is a big supporter of Tuss Talk. Will's also in our Patreon. Very active in our Patreon page, by the way. By the way, if you're a Patreon supporter, there's some stuff in there you might want to check out. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of that. But in the Patreon Discord page, there's some specifics that I'm not going to mention here. Arkansas starts a 10-game winning streak today, says William Watkins. That's FAA rule. Gotta have a Part 107 to fly over people. So see, there you go. What is that? Is that state law? Well, it's FAA, so yeah. I've looked into. Well, yeah. I mean, if they catch you, I'm just kidding. I'm not doing it. I'm not flying my drone down there. I bought one of those cheap Walmart drones. Well, I say cheap. It was like $200, but whatever. Bought it like a year and a half ago. I have some ideas. I still have ideas what I want to do with it. And I've actually uploaded some videos in Discord. All right. So there you go. Cade Renfro. We're going to find out more tomorrow. And again, it's on bigcountryhomepage.com. That's the link. If you guys are looking at that in Discord, someone's probably looking at that going, what the hell is this? If they're not in the show, if they're not in the live chat. But, yeah, so we'll know more about this tomorrow. They're going to give us some more specifics. So, again, this is his law team. This is Renfro's law team. So, just a heads up. Aaron Harbison with a $10 super chat. Off topic, but do you have any ideas for the last scholarship for basketball? Aaron, we're going to get to that in just a second. I'll just tell you right now, I don't know what they're going to do with it. I don't know what they should do with it. I know I'd like for them to go after another forward or another big, right? Someone who could play low, 6'10", 6'9", 6'10", two-way player, right? How many of those are available in the portal right now? Well, there might be one. All right, let's scroll up here. What is convo number 1? All right, there we go. Found it. 2 p.m. today, Arkansas taking on Santa Clara. ESPN Plus, so no, it's not on one of the main channels. Santa Clara, giving you kind of an update. 35-18. They were 17-10 in conference play. They played in the West Coast Conference. Their last NCAA appearance was 1997. Their last College World Series appearance, they only have one, was in 1962. Arky 56 was a wee child. He's not in here, but I've got to throw out there. I always like to remind him he was born in the era of black and white television. Their RPI is 81, strength of schedule 172. Their record versus top 50 teams, 3-3. Now I think that's D1 baseball top 50 teams. Santa Clara is going to pitch Cole Kitchen today. He's 3-2 with a 4.25 ERA, 15 starts in 16 appearances, 78 innings. Don't ask me where I got this information. I'm not even sure. I was doing so much research on all these different topics today, and I started just kind of typing as quick as I could. I forgot to note the source here, so I apologize for that. But will be his. Yeah, that's going to be the starting pitcher for Santa Clara. Again, that's Cole Kitchen, 3-2 overall record, 4.25 ERA, 15 starts, 16 appearances. Arkansas is going to pitch left-hander Hunter Holland, who's 8-2 with a 4.06 ERA. He's going to get the start. We know I don't have to tell you guys about Hunter Holland. 8-2. He's pitched 77 innings, just a little north of that. 72 strikeouts. He's walked 27. And again, his ERA is 4.06. This will be I'm excited for the matchup. I think these guys hit the ball pretty well. This will be interesting. They're pretty excited. Now, was this Dudley Dawson? I did a really bad job of posting sources here. That's my bad. But I'm pretty sure this is from Dudley Dawson. If not, I apologize. But again, it's just quoting what the players said. But Santa Clara senior outfielder Michael O'Hara and junior pitcher Skylar Hells both had a little bit to say. O'Hara says, I personally can't wait. I'm an outfielder, so I know there's going to be a good amount of people out there with something to say. Oh, boy. But so far, people down here have been nothing but nice. I've played in some big games in my life, but 10 or 11,000 will be new. But it's also so exciting. I just can't wait to get out there, to be honest with you. So O'Hara, Michael O'Hara, He's looking forward to what's about to be the verbiage that's about to be hurled his way in outfield. This will be interesting. He's already kind of poking the bear, but he also says that people have been kind. But that's fascinating. It's going to be wild. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be wild. It's going to be a great weekend in Fayetteville. It's going to be a great weekend, I think. Listen, you might not go undefeated, and that's not the end of the world. That also doesn't mean, well, they have no shot, right? I mean, once you get out of your regionals, then you kind of hit the – I don't want to say you want to hit the proverbial reset button, but you kind of do. Then you're on to that next – you're on to the supers against not the best of the best, but the best of that regional, the prior regional, and then eventually, if you can get through your supers, obviously, you play the best of the best. So, and we saw what Arkansas did last year, and a lot of people didn't think they would get out of the regionals last year, and they did. Made it all the way to Omaha and turned out to be Arkansas was a pretty good club last year. Where are we at on our odd soul poll, by the way? Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. I do appreciate the super chats. Odd soul poll. Arkansas goes unbeaten this weekend. 60% of you say yes. 40% of you are saying no at the moment. Has Walsh announced anything? Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Is the game going to be on local radio broadcast 99.5? That's a good question, because Arns, Ruskin, and Zach. That's a good question. I don't know. Let me see. Hang on. I know they have it posted somewhere, right? I mean, again, it's going to be available on ESPN Plus. Have they posted Razorback baseball? I'm not seeing. I mean, yeah, I'm assuming it's going to be available on one of these stations. I mean, surely. Let's see. I'm not seeing it. Right now, all I'm seeing is ESPN Plus. What is Razorback baseball? Or what does the website say? Scroll down here. Well, yeah, I'm only seeing ESPN Plus. I mean, it's going to be available. Let's see. 92.1 is what I'm seeing here. AM 1590 in Fayetteville. So if you're in Fayetteville, it's 92.1. I mean, I'm not going to go down this entire list, but Texarkana, I think I still have a couple listeners down in Texarkana. No. Yeah. AM radio over there. Let's see. Hang on. Stuttgart 105.5. That's KWAC FM. Russellville's 101.3. Rogers, Arkansas. So more NWA people. Looks like it's on KURM FM 103. AM radio 790. Let's see. Little Rock, it's on 103.7. I mean, yeah, it'll be on 103.7. Fort Smith, I know we got some listeners there. 95.3. It's KRX FM. Forest City, 106.5. KJXK FM. Yeah. AM 1590 in Fayetteville, 92.1 FM. Also in Fayetteville. El Dorado, 107.1. And Conway will be 92.7. So there you go. I think this is what those are the radio affiliates. Now that doesn't mean they're all going to play the game. But those are the affiliates. So if you're going to find them on a station, it's going to be one of those. AM radio, wow. All right. There you have it. Let's see. Fishman says, I say we won't go unbeaten, but I hope we do. William Watkins, no reason to bring politics into sports. Oh, yeah. Watching from Memphis says, go Hogs. Well, hopefully you have a good watching experience today. Hopefully everything goes according to plan. You never know with these kind of matchups, right? You never know with these kind of schools. You just don't know what you're in for. But with it being in Fayetteville, being inside Baum Stadium, you feel all right. Arkansas, very, very good at home. And, I mean, a lot of teams are. I get that. It's not the equivalent of, like, home for football or basketball unless you're in Fayetteville. And then it is. Then it is the equivalent because that hog call is going to get ridiculous. It's going to get loud. I hope they're ready. Wow, the number's dropping here. Arkansas goes unbeaten this weekend. It dropped 54% now, and 46% of you say no. Do you remember in NJIT becoming a part of Arkansas fans after they lost? Do you think if we beat Santa Clara, they could get the same reaction? It's always possible. It's going to depend on how well they handle. It's going to depend on how well they handle the heckling and how severe the heckling gets in outfield, right? I see KJ did run away with the big man on campus. Yeah, and I figured he would, by the way. If you haven't taken that poll, which I'm assuming a lot of you have already, go take the poll. Like, share, subscribe, as always. All right, Devo returns. Walsh is out. He's going to stick with the NBA. Devo coming back is big. I think this was the scenario that a lot of people thought would play out, and that is exactly what happened. So, listen, yeah, I would love to have Walsh back. I would love to have Walsh back. You guys know where I stand on this. I say it every time this happens. I do think these guys could benefit staying another year, being coached by the same guy, more or less, the same staff, more or less. Now, I also get, too, now these days, why you might be less willing to return when you have this much roster turnover. Like his boys, gone, other than Devo. Like who's back, right? Trevon Brazile, Devo, Jalen Graham, Joseph Pinion, Mekhi Mitchell. So you still have a few guys. But, of course we know Nick Smith's gone, Anthony Black's gone, Ricky Council's gone, the list. This is the list of guys that are gone. Kamani Johnson, who he's a senior, Anthony Black, Nick Smith, Ricky Council, Jordan Walsh, all testing the draft or getting drafted. I mean, let's be real. At least two of those guys, or maybe three of those guys get drafted. Kel'el Mitchell's gone. Barry Dunning's gone. Darian Ford is gone. So, yeah, I mean, that's the situation that you're in right now. Devo, Jalen Graham, Trevon Brazile, Joseph Pinion, Mekhi Mitchell are all back. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's an okay amount of players coming back. It's not ideal when you're talking about the possibility of getting someone like, of course, of that group of guys that are going. Of those guys that are leaving, I mean, I liked all those freshmen, or Barry Dunning and Darian Ford. I would like to have seen them both stay, but of course, of that group, you would love to have seen Jordan Walsh come back. Of the realistic scenarios, right? We all knew that Nick Smith, Anthony Black, those two were gone. So I mean, you do still have, and you have room for one last spot. I'm not digging the size. If I had to be real with you, I kind of thought they would, and again, we talk about size. We don't talk enough about length, which does matter. Bayfall, I know there's some drama or there's something out there. People think Bayfall may not. There might be some drama here with Bayfall. But he is 6'10", right? You're bringing him. You've got Jeremiah Davenport, who I've been told is a tall 6'7", short 6'8". You've got Jalen Graham, who's we know more of an offensive guy. Trevon Brazile's in that 6'9", 6'10" range. Mekhi 6'9". You have some size. No, you don't have a couple of true 5 pieces in this lineup. You don't have a couple of true 5s. You've got maybe one true 5, or you have kind of a hybrid forward center 5. But you don't really have, and of course that might be Bayfall. Assuming this is your makeup, okay? Devo, let's see. Of your guys returning, Devo, Pinion, Graham Brazil, Mekhi Mitchell, all right? You have Blocker and Bayfall, your two true freshmen coming in. Of course, Layden Blocker, 6'2 guard. You've got a couple of 6'2", 6'3 guards. You've also got Keon Menefield, who's 6'1", who's a transfer coming in. Khalif Battle, Jeremiah Davenport, Tremont Mark. We know these guys. Some of these guys pulled their names out of the draft. That's a big deal. Tremont Mark, L. Ellis. L. Ellis, 6'2", 6'3", right? Menefield, 6'1". Blocker, who's a 6'2 guard. Now, with this list of transfers, I'm not so sure Blocker. I'm not sure where Blocker falls in the depth there, but I mean he could get some time. Devo's kind of that point guard. I mean we know it's kind of what he's supposed to be, or what he probably will find himself in that role. More often now that you don't have two guys that were considered point guards. Anthony Black, Nick Smith, who was more of a combo guard who could play the 1 or the 2 or the 3. Definitely a combo guard, definitely a 1-2 type. But now, Devo's probably going to be one of those. I mean, he's going to be your leader on the floor, and that's why it's so big that they're getting him back. You're getting a proven veteran who, and someone asked me this in Discord. I made the comment on the last show that I felt like Devo hit his ceiling. That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing that he hit his ceiling. I would argue that he hadn't found it until last year. And it doesn't mean he can't get better. He can't become a better player. And, yeah, I am a little bit nervous about his handles. If we're talking about a point guard, he's not got the greatest handles. I'm always worried when he's bringing the ball out, when he's over half court and he's got the ball. I am a little bit concerned he's going to do something silly. We certainly have seen him do that in the past. But we've also seen him play pretty sound ball and worthy of being called a point guard. We know he can dish. We know he can assist. He can get a few assists in a game. He could play that role. He can also be a scorer. We saw him stretch the floor last year. I was really impressed with Devo, and it was strange because the anticipation of Devo from his freshman to sophomore year didn't deliver until March. We kind of knew that from his first year what he could do in March, and then we saw it again, and then we saw it again. That's what I feel like that's what's great about bringing someone like Devo back. Is you have a guy who's very experienced in the month of March, who's experienced in SEC play. He's experienced in playing under Musselman. It is a big deal that he's back. No, he's not an NBA draft pick. And I don't know that coming back to Arkansas or going anywhere is going to turn him into even a second-round draft pick. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be the case. He's not an NBA. He's not playing the 1 at the next level. He probably does have overseas written all over him after he leaves. But who knows? Who knows, man? I mean, he could have a huge jump this year, and myself and others who've said he's kind of hit his ceiling in terms of what he can do this last year. I don't think he found his ceiling until last year, and you saw the outcome of that. Arkansas was better off when he found the 3 ball, when he was able to stretch the floor. Can he expand on that game a little bit? I think there's a reason why he wasn't an NBA draft pick. And again, it's not a bad thing that he hit his ceiling because at least he found it. He can become a little bit better player, but it's being able to do that consistently when you start talking about a player's ceiling. There are no good big men left in the portal probably going after a wing. Yeah, probably. You're probably going to go after you're probably right. John Oliver says we are loaded, but have no one over 6'9" except a Project 6'10" Bay Fall who isn't on campus yet. Yeah. See, that is the thing that concerns me is there's not a lot of that. You don't have a lot of, feet to head height. Now, again, length is something we don't talk enough about. I don't know all these players' lengths, but I certainly do believe that they're going to play with a little bit of length, but they're just not. Again, you just don't have a lot of size. I don't know when you get matched up against some teams that have that 6'11", 7-foot big who can kind of push you around underneath. And listen, there have been times since Musselman has been the head coach where that's been the case, and they still find ways to win those games or to go further than those teams who do have size, right? We know that's the thing that makes Muss. That's one of the things to me that makes Muss such a proven guy, man. I mean, he finds ways to win these type of games when maybe there is a little bit of a size issue. And then every once in a while you run into players that just absolutely dominate down low. And Arkansas certainly saw that just this last year. They certainly had some issues with some guys that were big, and they lost those games. So both scenarios have played out. I don't know that this roster size-wise makes me feel any better. Now, having said that, that doesn't mean I'm not projecting these guys to go far in March again. We'll talk about that the closer we get to basketball season. We'll see what they do at that 13th spot. Again, I agree with what someone said in chat. I think it was Tony. It was Tony or someone said this in chat that there are no great bigs left or even really good bigs left really that are on the table for Arkansas at the moment that we know of. Maybe that changes. Maybe there's someone out there we just kind of glossed over. I don't know. I know Connor Vanover's visiting Mizzou. I'm kidding. It was a joke. Of course they're not gonna bring Connor back. If he were a realistic option, how would you guys feel about that? I would say no because he does well against mid-major talent. I don't know that Connor Vanover's game, well, we know that it doesn't. It doesn't translate at this level. He was good at Oral Roberts, and we'll see what happens. Do we have an update on him? I know he was on that visit to Mizzou. So, they're probably going to go after a wing. They're going to try and find another wing, I'm sure. But, yeah, Devo Davis, Jalen Graham, Trevon Brazile, Joseph Pinion, Mekhi Mitchell. Those guys, that's not bad. 1 through 5 there, that's not bad. And then you add, of course, the possibility of Layden Blocker. We'll see about Bayfall, Keon Minifield, Khalif Battle, Jeremiah Davenport, L. Ellis, and Tremont Mark. L. Ellis, man, I love what they've done. We don't talk enough about how great they really did out of the portal. Again, it comes down to, they got these players. Maybe they'll find their game and they can figure out a way to play around not having a couple of true 5 pieces on this roster. I don't know. What do you guys think? Are you worried? What's your concern? What's up, Mike? How you doing, man? From what insiders are saying, he almost got himself a 2-way deal. Wait. What's this about? Tony says Devo, Tremont Mark, Minifield is the best defensive backcourt in the country by a country mile. Devo in that equation. Without Devo, it's already pretty good. It's really good. But with Devo, yeah. I mean, that's Devo. And I said it when I had Blake Lovell on. I've talked to Blake about this. Some other people. Devo is arguably the best perimeter defender in the SEC. I mean, he's got to be up there. He's got to be top 3, top 2, and to have him back again. Has he improved on defense the last 2 years? Maybe a little bit, but it's not like there's a ton of room for improvement. Of course, Musselman would probably say otherwise, I'm sure. This is a good question. In your opinion, Devo coming back more important than Holland coming to Arkansas? Boy, I like how you frame that because you asked if it was more important. I'd say yeah. I'd say so. Now, obviously, Holland, it's a different scenario because Holland is a different kind. I mean, he's a big-time prospect, man. I mean, Holland's a big deal. But if you're asking me, like, just importance, again, for all the reasons I just included, like, his knowledge of playing with a couple of these guys, right, that are coming back, knowing how good he is as a defender, the fact that he found his offensive rhythm last year, cut those turnovers down, cut them down. Good Lord, drop them by 20%. Become a true point guard. Continue to thrive defensively. Continue to perfect your shot. I'd love to see him to become like a complete scorer, right? I'd love to see him be a guy that could score anywhere on the floor. I mean, listen, that kind of player is rare anyways, right? To have all the things that he already has, and then to add in the fact that maybe he could be a potential elite scorer on offense. That's a lot, man. That kind of player is not super common. To be as good as he is on defense and to turn around and just be an elite two-way player, that would be a ceiling. That would be like the next step if we're going to talk about increasing his ceiling, is becoming that do-it-all offensive player. But we saw him take games over, man, on the offensive end. But I'm talking about like at a consistent level where it becomes the expectation night in and night out, game in and game out, right? I think it is important, but Holland – maybe the bigger question is who has the biggest impact. Holland is a true freshman, or Devo is an experienced guy with. Listen, and I also agree with the sentiment that I don't know how far you go into March without Devo. That's the other thing about this. You could say that without Holland. I think you can. I think you could say that without Holland. I don't think you could say that without Devo. Maybe you guys disagree. I don't know. Mekhi Mitchell's above average big. Some Arkansas fans hated that he was the exact opposite of flashy, but he was more than serviceable. He got a bad rap. Arthur Kaluma Arthur Kaluma is dreaming, but he'd be a great fit. Yeah, he would. Wasn't he? I think Kentucky just recently reached out. I heard they only have about 7 or 8 players on their roster. That's nuts. Brittany Smola wants to know, are you going to stream the Hog game? I don't have ESPN Plus. No, I'm not. I'm sure someone will, Brittany, maybe on Twitch. If you're familiar with that, maybe someone will stream it on Twitch. You run the risk, though, if I were to stream the game, of having my channel get hit. Brittany, are you new, or are you a longtime viewer? Or are you a not a longtime viewer, but I've never seen your avatar or your name in chat. But if you're new, welcome. Make sure you subscribe. Again, check out Twitch. There might be somebody on Twitch. If you're in our Discord, someone will have a link available on Discord. Ask Aaron. So I'm not going to do a post game for the game tonight, because I'm going to have a anniversary dinner with my wife. We didn't get a chance to celebrate last weekend, but we just hit 17 years last weekend. Happy anniversary to my wife, 17 wonderful years, Mrs. Hudson. I don't know if she's listening. I think she's on her lunch break. What's your Discord? Well, it's Tuss Talk with Ty, but we can get you a link. Hang on just a second. The link is provided for you down below in the description box, but I'll post it if someone doesn't beat me to it. One of the mods. Copy. Here you go, Brittany. I'm going to try. I may try and stream it on Discord. But if we do, or if we don't, and if there is a Twitch link available that someone's streaming the game, if it's found, I'm sure our Discord will share it. If I don't stream the game if I don't stream the game in our Discord. 17 years, Ty. That's a beautiful thing. I appreciate you, Fish. Yeah. 17 years. 17 years. All right. Yeah. No problem, Brittany. No problem. Yeah, you just click that. You may have to make an account. It doesn't take very long. But if you want to join up, you certainly can do so. I guess my opinion about Devo and Holland wasn't that unpopular. What was your opinion, John? I may have missed it. GoHawk says, agreed. I feel like it's better to have a proven leader, proven player than the possibility of one. No guarantee. Holland would have lived up to the hype, and they have certainly seen that happen before. Some would argue Nick Smith never lived up to it, but I think it's so much more complicated with the Nick Smith scenario. I think the Nick Smith stuff was very Boy, that's a hot topic. That's starting to become one of those pillars. I often talk about pillars of conversation for Hog fans. And that's starting to become one of them. Nick Smith, what happened? What happened? WTH, what the hell? Nick Smith didn't live up even when he played. But I don't want to get into that. But, yeah, who knows? Holland may not turn out to be all that in a bag of Takis. You guys like Takis? God, I could eat those things. Since COVID, when I had COVID a couple years ago, or no, was that last summer? Summer before last, right? When I had COVID. I don't remember. But it messed my taste buds all up, man. I'm telling you. And so hot food now is even hotter. Anyone else experience that who had COVID, like where it completely changed your taste buds? Did mine, man. It hit the reset button. Everything's hotter now. There's spice and everything. Still crossing my fingers we get Grant Nelson. I just don't see it being the case. I could be wrong. All right. So, let's make sure we have kind of all that nailed down. Yeah. So to kind of put a period on the basketball situation, Devo back, Walsh out. What I was trying to say earlier, and I kind of got off topic for a second, but I was trying to say earlier about Walsh. I absolutely believe he should have come back. Now, you can be developed in the NBA, and that is something like Nick Smith's name. You're going to hear that talked about a lot. Like he's going to need further development, which is why I think he might slip. He could slip down to the last pick in the lottery for the lottery picks. I don't see him sliding out, because his potential is there, and that's what NBA analysts are saying. But he is someone who's probably going to have to take a year or two to really get developed, and maybe he'll have a career or not. I'm not going to speak on that. I never have and I never will. I don't know what he does in the NBA. I have no clue. He could burn out in 4 years, or he could become a star. I don't know. I mean, things happen, right? But the same thing could be said about Holland. Not Holland. Walsh. Walsh is going to get developed in the NBA. That's the path that he's taken. I don't blame him. Anyone who's mad about the situation, like, look, man, I mean, he's got the potential. He's going to make probably more money, maybe potentially more money in the NBA, getting developed, right? Not having to worry and deal with school. God, shut up. This damn thing. Yeah, so I do think he should have come back. Now, was he kind of locked into a situation? Did he kind of get, I don't know, held down at Arkansas a little bit? Was he kind of a role guy? I think he was. I also think there was a reason for that. The guy was not a prolific scorer. He's going to have to develop that part of his game. I think he's a hell of a defender. I also think his defense needs a lot of work. I mean, he's a great defender, but he can't defend without getting into foul trouble. These are things I think he could have had that could have been fixed. I think he would have had a much larger role in the offensive end of the floor for Arkansas in 2023/24. I think he could have had. I think the potential was there for him to be a legit top 20 pick. I'm not willing to say lottery pick just yet. I mean, now it's all, we don't know, right? We're never going to know that because he's obviously not coming back. But I think that's what he's missing out on. I think he's missing out on the potential to make more money. Also, you could get hurt. We saw that with Brazil. We saw that with Nick Smith. Hell, Anthony Black was playing with a banged up, his ankle in March. But it didn't impact him because it didn't impact his, he was able to play in the NCAA tournament. But I do think Walsh could have come back and had a build up that resume a little bit and develop on both ends of the floor. I think he still had work to do on the defensive end of the floor, defensive side of the floor. He couldn't guard without getting into foul trouble. I'll be real with you. I loved his intensity. I loved the energy that kid played with. I like Walsh. I wish him the best, and I cannot wait to see what he does. I hope he thrives at the next level. I really do. All former Razorbacks. I hope they all thrive. Hope they make good decisions. But I hope they thrive. And Walsh I like a lot. He was my favorite Razorback last year. I was really hoping he'd come back. But again, not a smart defender. Got into foul trouble really quick, and his offensive game was just non-existent for the most part. Now, we did see him a couple times. He kind of had a burst. Okay. But on a consistent level, we never saw it. And I think that's the end that could have really – that's the piece. That was the missing piece for him to be a first-round pick. And I think NBA teams know that. You're getting a guy who's probably going to be a great defender who I don't know what he can guard in the NBA. I would argue probably the 1 through maybe the 4. He could guard 1 through 3 for sure. He could certainly guard 1 through 4 in college. Maybe he can be a 1 through 4 guy in the NBA. He's going to have to play smarter. Now, obviously, we know the officiating is a little bit different in the NBA and how they call fouls, but he's going to have to play a little bit smarter at the next level, and maybe he'll develop. Maybe he'll just be a great defensive guy. Hell, there's one guy, former Razorback, who for a while was one of the best defenders in all the NBA, and he goes by the name Patrick Beverley. So, and he made a career out of being just an elite defender. Maybe that can be Jordan Walsh. I do think he should have come back. But, you're going to hear me say that about a lot of guys. Very rarely. Like Nick Smith, there's an argument to be made. Maybe he should come back. Anthony Black should go. He should go. He should go. I don't know how ready he is, NBA ready. He might take a couple of years. But I'm all for. I completely get Anthony Black going. Nick Smith, again, I don't know. I certainly think there's an argument to be made that maybe he could have. But there's too much money, and he's a potential lottery pick. Of course he's not coming back. Same with Black, right? Okay, let's move on to football. Recruiting in June is going to be wild. This is why you guys need to be Patreon supporters and in the Discord. We were talking today a little bit about some stuff. Let's start off with the list. Now, these are all the 2024 kids. I don't know the total amount of players they're going to visit. It's a lot. You're gonna read a lot about the 25 kids and 26 kids. But the 2024, you're going to have, let's see. Or excuse me, the June 2nd for the class of 24. It looks like they have just 2 at the moment, C.J. Brown and Xavier Atkins. Xavier Atkins is a 4-star, probably going to end up being a safety, 6'1", 205. He's listed, I think, on Rivals as an outside linebacker, so he's probably more of a hybrid safety type. He's out of Humble, Texas. Again, he's a 4-star, big-time player. Again, committed to LSU. At the moment, he still plans on visit. I mean, he should. Well, wait, that's today. Holy shit, that's today, isn't it? I'll be damned. Yeah, so C.J. Brown. So I haven't got an update on whether or not either of these 2 kids are here. I'll find out. And guess what? We'll share. When I do find out, I'll share that information in Patreon for Patreon supporters in Discord. June 9th, looks like they have. I was told there might be a third on June 9th, but Parker Livingston and Brian Huff. Now, I do have a little bit of an update on Brian Huff. Did talk about that this morning on Patreon. I'll just say, again, 6'3", 225-pounder, 4-star on Rivals. He was a hog lean for a while. I really like him. He's I don't know too many people who've actually watched him play in person. We know he's over in Jonesboro. But I'll just say I don't know. I don't know where Arkansas is with him at the moment. And I think that situation is kind of up in the air right now. As far as I know, he's still expected to visit on June 9th along with Parker Livingston, kid out of Lucas, Texas, 4-star wide receiver, 6'4", 190-pounder. So that's June 9th. June 16th, let's see, Mekhi White, Jaden Allen, Chris Johnson. These are all 4-stars. Well, Mekhi White's a 3-star on Rivals. Selman Bridges, 6'4", 170-pound corner, 4-star, 2024. He's expected to be in on June 16th. Again, Chris Johnson, a 3-star. Why can I not zoom this picture? Can I not zoom? It's hard to read these names. So he's at Chris Johnson's a 3-star. My bad. So Bridges and Allen, the 2 4-stars, they're expected now. Jaden Allen is he's a verbal commit to Arkansas. Let's see. So that's June 16th. So right now for the 24 class, June 16th, you're expecting 1, 2, 3, 4 kids on campus at the moment. That's for the class of 24. That may have actually expanded. Yeah, it did actually. I'm sorry. There's one more, and I'll get to him in just a second. June 23rd. This is where it gets wild. They're expecting, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, maybe 13 for the class of 24. The last week. Now there is a dead period. I want to say it's like June 20. It's right after. It's like the 25th or something of June when you have that dead period. So they're trying to cram all these players in. I'm not going to mention them all, but Kavion Henderson, who's a 4-star verbal commit to Arkansas, he'll be here June 23rd. Let's see, Braylon Conley, 6 foot, 4-star corner out of Humble, Texas. Let's see. Braylon Burnside is going to be here, 6'1" athlete out of Starkville, Mississippi, top 160 player. Again, this is all rivals. And then Norrell White, who's currently a Razorback commit, who did have that tweet that, I don't know, he took it down, said something about flipping to Ole Miss, and he took it down and was asked about it later and said he was just kind of curious to see what fans were saying. I don't know. I mean, listen, I don't know what I'd be saying if I were 17, if I were a 17-year-old high school prospect who's this highly coveted player. God only knows what I'd be doing on Twitter to clown. I don't know. I mean, maybe he was just clowning around. So people in Ole Miss seem to think in Oxford that he might be flipping. So again, that's Norrell White. I don't know. I don't have an update on him other than he was apparently just kind of clowning around. Dion Stutz will be on campus as well. So on the 24th, now this is important, Ashton Hampton, 6'2", 190-pound defensive back. And I want to say this was Otis Kirk that actually posted about him. He's going to visit on June 24th. He's a big-time target for Marcus Woodson in the secondary. He announced – Ashton Hampton announced on Monday his top 6 schools, and he's got Arkansas, Florida State, Florida, Miami, LSU, and Clemson on that list. He's a 6'2", 190-pound, 3-star safety. I don't know that he's going to be a 3-star for long. This is one of those kids. He's out of Tallahassee, Florida. Lot of people starting to blow up on him, starting to think that he's going to become he's going to be one of those guys that bolt up the rankings. And then going back to June 16th, William Eccles, 6'4", 290-pound. He's listed as he's listed as an offensive tackle on Rivals. I had read where he's possibly a two-way guy who could play on the defensive line as well. It was actually a group chat I'm in that someone posted that, so I don't know. I figured they were going after him. He is 6'4", 290 pounds. I mean, he's a little bit shorter. He's not one of these 6'6", 6'7" tackle. He's 6'4", 290. I would assume that if he plays on the offensive side, he's probably an interior guy. But apparently, a lot of people think he's. And again, this is coming from a group chat that I'm in. A lot of people seem to think his ceiling is much higher as a defensive player. Again, that's William Eccles out of Houston, Mississippi. He has offers from Auburn, Liberty, Arkansas, Arkansas State. There's a number of offers. I don't have the whole list in front of me. So, he will be here again on June 16th, and Ashton Hampton will be here June 24th. I've been told need to circle Ashton's name. This is a guy that could be – I swear that wasn't a fart. That's his chair. If you hear this, let's see if I can make that sound again. It sounded like a fart, but I swear I didn't. Ashton Hampton is someone you need to circle his name. So the month of June is going to be absolutely wild. Yes, I do expect some commits. I think it's going to be a commit-heavy month just like last year. Wouldn't shock me to start things off next week with a commit or two. I don't know names. I don't know who's. I'm not saying they're going to flip anybody. I'm not saying that they're going to that they're going to absolutely just destroy and get all the players that we want them to get, right? That all the players that Arkansas fans want them to get. I'm not saying that. But what I will say is they are expecting some commits. Wouldn't shock me, and I should say probably closer. I mean, it could be early June. Sometimes you get these kids that just, I don't know, they pull the trigger at odd times. But I do think they're in the lead for several of these players. I know we're expecting, I think Kobe Branham, kid out of Southside, I think he's supposed to announce pretty soon. And I think he's a hog lean, but we'll see. We'll see where they're at. And again, the end of June could be wild. Those last couple of weeks, it could be pretty commit heavy. And at the same time, we could be saying that, and maybe kids play it differently this year. Maybe the staff plays it a little bit differently this year. Maybe they don't rush these kids to commit early. But I think that's kind of Sam's game plan. So, yeah, expect some updates there with the offers. Let's see. Now that we're trying with 8, I haven't even gotten caught up. I haven't caught up on all that stuff yet. I don't know. They're going to 8 games. What was that? They're going to play 8 conference games, and then they have to play 1 Power 5. I don't know about all that. I don't like the idea of not having divisions either. That's pretty stupid. I don't know. That all seems so silly. To do away with divisions. Hey, welcome to Discord, John Oliver. We had another one. Big Time Fizzle. Welcome. That's not what's her face, is it? Did she make a Discord? Oh, we have our lineup. I guess we could talk about that really quick. From the desk of DVH, says Razorback Baseball Twitter, Josenberger, Holt, and Diggs. Diggs in the 3 spot. Slavens at the 4. Callie's going to bat 5th. Beaufort, Wagner, Roland, Bolton. That's your there you go. There you go. 2 o'clock. We know Holland's he's on the mound. Holland's going to be on the mound. And I think Arkansas is going to get the dub. All right. Shout out to the show sponsors, Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. Without them, and of course, without Patreon supporters as well, but without Direct Service Overhead, this is not possible. Same-day services, free estimates, quality parts, affordable outcomes, better than best results. Give them a call today at 501-244-3667. That's Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. And the Odd Soul Craft Bar Pizzeria. Listen, we got beautiful shots in our Discord. We've got beautiful shots. They got local IPAs, wonderful pies, great staff, awesome environment. If you get a chance this weekend, you want to catch Arkansas play, you're not able to go to Bomb, why not go hit up the Odd Soul Craft Bar and Pizzeria? We have the menu available also on our Discord. And every time I look at it, I'm like, God, I want to go eat. I'm going to go eat some Odd Soul. All right. Is that all of our topics? Did we get them all out of the way? Did we get them all? I think we did. Look at that. 1 hour and 1 minute. We got her done. Hope the kitchen is serving up meatballs today. If you had to choose one rivalry to play every year, who would it be against, LSU, Texas, or Missouri? Well, first off, I will give you Texas and LSU as rivalries. I won't, however, give you Mizzou as a rivalry. I'm sorry, I can't do it. That's the most fabricated bullshit rivalry I've ever seen. Yeah, so we have some clarification. 8 games. Okay, 8 games for one season until everyone's contractual obligations are done, and then they'll evaluate again. Yeah, so 9 games is going to happen. It's going to happen. 9 conference games is going to happen in the next 3 years. Mark my words. It's going to happen. They're going to move to 9. I don't like the idea, if I read that right, no divisions. Isn't that stupid? What do you guys think? Do you prefer the idea of playing teams within your geographical reach, or do you just want 8, 9 games of random SEC opponents? The only way I could see that working out is a better balance of games at home, where you get I could go either way. I don't know. Austin says no divisions. What do you mean? Are you saying you prefer no divisions, or are you saying that that's what they're doing? Because I think that's what they're doing. They're going to no divisions. Texas is just the best rivalry in my opinion. Yeah. I mean, for Arkansas fans, it certainly is. Arkansas fans also see LSU as a rival. Now, the question is always, do those fans see you as rivals? I don't think Texas fans, despite the ass whooping they got in Fayetteville not long ago, and despite beating them in baseball, they beat the shit out of Arkansas in an exhibition game. Who gives a shit? But Arkansas kind of owns them lately. So maybe they do view Arkansas as a rival. I don't know. They should certainly look at Arkansas as their dad. I would rather have divisions, but would also like to see other teams rotate. That's why I put quotations on Missouri. Oh, did you? I didn't see. Oh, I guess you did. Yeah, I realized too, the letters are like this big. It's really hard to read chat sometimes. Let's be honest though, Arkansas fans hate Mizzou. Let's see. Arkansas fans hate Mizzou fans more than OU fans, or at least in 2023. Nah. It's still not a rivalry though, Tony. I mean, that's the question. Is it a rivalry? Do the two schools absolutely hate each other? And it's not even always out of pure hatred, right? There's also some level, well, I don't know. I better watch what I say. But Arkansas does not, I don't think Arkansas truly acknowledges this. I don't know that any team, basketball, football, or baseball, I don't know that any Arkansas team on campus views Mizzou as a team, as a rivalry. Oh, there's our rivals. They may come out and say something. Sure, they could flap their gums all they want. I'm sure someone's been quoted as saying, well, they are our rival, or we got to play them during our rivalry week or whatever. But is it really a rivalry? Does it feel like a rivalry when you watch it? No. For them, it certainly does. And I'm not saying that that's a good or bad thing, but just because you have a trophy made and the SEC tells you that it's a rivalry doesn't make it a rivalry. It's not organic. There's nothing organic about the rivalry. It's fabricated. It's not a rivalry, and I don't know that it ever will be. Basketball's close to a rivalry, maybe. You can maybe stretch that, but even then I have a hard time buying it. Make OU the permanent. Recruits will eat it up. Honestly, I think if we only had one annual game, I'd rather A&M as the permanent. Yeah? Home at home, too, right? Home at home. Only because Missouri fans talk so much shit, it's ridiculous, especially for a team that's won nothing. Oh, boy. They love telling you how they finish higher than you, though, and that they've beaten you in football. Okay, cool. Chad Morris is gone. Football will catch up. Yeah, football will catch up and wins in a few years. Yeah, Tony, I mean, I hear you. And like John kind of pointed it out perfectly. The only reason why there's any banter between fans, if you're on Twitter, and I don't know if you are, Tony, or not, but if you're on Twitter, it's always it's like Arkansas lives rent-free in Mizzou fans' heads. No, I don't know that Arkansas Twitter really, other than to laugh at Mizzou, like when they celebrate finishing higher than you do in basketball. I don't know that Arkansas fans really look at them with like pure discontent. Their fans do, yes. Their fans, as John Oliver pointed out, they love to talk shit. But that doesn't make a rivalry, right? Now, I mean, what is a rivalry, right? Like, are we redefining what that is just because fans don't like each other on Twitter? No, it's got to happen on the field, on the floor, on the court. That's where it happens. That's where the rivalry starts and ends. Fans certainly get thrown in the mix of that. I'm not saying they don't. I'm not saying that, fans don't play a role in that. They certainly do. Twitter banter does matter to a degree, but I don't think because you have Mizzou fans who just every opportunity they take to make fun of Arkansas on Twitter, I don't think that makes it a rivalry. Because the rivalry has been forced down our throats. There you go. That's it. It's hard to, and that's what makes it even harder to accept. Had the SEC never gotten involved, now then if that were the case, you wouldn't have the permanent, right? You wouldn't have that game every year at the end of the year in football, and you wouldn't play them in other sports, but as often, right? And therefore, there's the question, right? If Arkansas, there's your question for anyone who believes there's some kind of rivalry brewing between Arkansas and Missouri. Would there be anything said at all if the SEC never stepped in and made that our rivalry game? Would we be talking about Mizzou at all? No, you wouldn't. I think there was more of a rivalry when you were playing South Carolina, because at least there were some damn good games. When Spurrier was there, Lou Holtz was there. There was something natural about that, and that those guys are on the other side of the damn country compared to us, right? All the way out on the East Coast, or close enough. Might as well be. That was a more natural rivalry. It was more organic. Nobody shoved it down your throats, right? It wasn't a forged in a lab, or forged in a factory, or made in a lab kind of rivalry, right? That's what Mizzou is. To me, a rivalry's got to be organic. It has to happen just by playing the games and so on and so forth, which is why LSU is viewed more as a rivalry. Ole Miss, hell, every SEC West opponent is made more of a rivalry. But if the SEC hadn't forced Mizzou and Arkansas into a game every year in football, we wouldn't have this conversation to begin with, because nobody here cares about them. They do care about us. I'll give you that. Walsh absolutely played lights out in the combine. Yeah, he did. He went off. And that's why he's climbing up the mock draft. Ole Miss Kiffin turning into more of a rivalry than Mizzou will ever be. That's true. I think you're right, John. John's killing it with some great remarks, great comments. And I don't disagree with Tony either. Tony's not wrong that when he says, like, there is banter, there is certainly some hatred on Twitter between the fans. Absolutely. But it takes so much more than that. The Barry Odom thing, the Mike Anderson thing, all the Mizzou players coming here, I feel like it's underrated. Maybe. But I definitely don't. I don't know. Should that be our next Twitter poll, or our next poll on Tuss Talk community page? Who's more of a rivalry, Mizzou or Ole Miss? With Hugh Free or with Lane Kiffin? Excuse me. What would it take for this to be a rivalry? Well, again, Tony, I mean, if I've got to spell it out for you, then that's how you know it's not a rivalry. Just because you've had players transfer here, just because you grabbed Mike Anderson, that's just Arkansas being Mizzou's daddy. That's all that is. I mean, that's not anything. You've got to have meaningful games, right? Games that determine the other school's, outcome or future or postseason destination. Memorable games. You got to have history there, and of course, that's not Mizzou or Arkansas's fault, right? Of course, Mizzou didn't join the league until 2012, but again, that kind of goes into it, right? Which is why some people outside of Arkansas will tell you, if you go to these what's that website? Tigerbait.com. Is it Tigerbait? There's a couple others. They'll tell you that Arkansas doesn't have a natural rivalry here because we don't have the history here. But if you look back at the Southwest Conference, we can't do that. But that's why I feel like A&M is more of a rivalry. A lot of the old heads, a lot of the older folks will tell you, Texas Tech, TCU, Texas, those are the natural organic rivalries because they had history. I don't know that you can just make a new rivalry because a team just suddenly joins your conference. Oh, now you're rivals. It just doesn't work that way. Oh, well, we hired Mike Anderson. Now it must be a rivalry. Oh, Trevon Brazil's here. Now it's a rivalry. No. I think it's going to take years. If that game ever turns into a rivalry, if Arkansas and Mizzou ever turns into a rivalry, it's going to take years. And there's got to be some meaningful games, meaningful moments, meaningful players. Right? It has to kind of transcend what's actually happening on the field. Not just because you have a former player and they talk shit about him. So classless by Mizzou fans, by the way, to cheer when Brazil went down. Like, how much more disgusting can you be? And if you're a Hog fan and you ever do that for a player, just take your Hog gear off. That's bullshit. Don't do that nonsense. But that's not enough. It's going to take years. Just because you join in 2012 and the SEC says, oh, now Arkansas is going to play Missouri and it's going to be a rivalry game, and you've had a couple of things happen here and there, that doesn't make it a rivalry. You say there's something brewing, Tony. Maybe. But I still think it's going to take years for this to ever turn into a natural, organic rivalry. And what it has working against it is the fact that it already feels fabricated. Nobody takes it serious here because we know what we lost. We lost LSU that week. That, to Arkansas fans, was a more meaningful game. So Mizzou has all this stuff working against it. Football's the driver behind all this. Basketball matters to a degree. Baseball certainly matters to Arkansas fans, not to Missouri. I don't know that they can spell baseball. It's kind of sad, really, when you have the Cardinals in your backyard. But that school doesn't baseball's not their thing. But imagine if they were an elite baseball program in Arkansas who's done what they've done, and these two teams clash every year, and they're big games and they're meaningful and crazy things happen. That would be likely to start to build up something. But even then, it would only be for baseball. Football is the driver. Football is the thing that drives the entire rivalry landscape, right? Now, unless you're a Duke in North Carolina and Kansas, and of course Kansas was actually Mizzou's real rivalry, right? That's why they like to call us Arkansas. Let's see. Mizzou just fired their baseball coach. Yeah, the best geographical rivalry should be with Oklahoma, and I don't disagree with that either. I think there is some fans don't like each other. I've heard stories about fights down in the River Valley, fights on Dixon Street between Oklahoma fans and Arkansas fans. I don't know that there's enough where the schools actually hate each other, right? Could that develop into something quicker than the Mizzou game? Absolutely. I do. All right, we've gone well over an hour. I haven't eaten lunch yet, so I'm going to go do that. I do appreciate you guys. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Shout out to Super Chats, Patreon supporters. If you guys want to join, if you guys finally want to pull the trigger, I know I've got some regulars in here, and you've been contemplating it. You've been thinking about it. Maybe you should go ahead and pull that trigger. We're trying to break 60 total members. Would love to do that. That'd be really neat. Here's the link if you want to join. A lot discussed in this one. Don't forget, the Cade Renfro stuff is going to continue on tomorrow. We're going to finally hear from his side's point of view. So, tomorrow's going to be kind of crazy. I do plan on the possibility of doing some post games. It might be after Arkansas, assuming they win their regional. Maybe I'll do it after that game, or if they get eliminated, I might go live after that. Who knows? If they get eliminated, I don't see that happening. I think they get out of their regional. I don't know that it's going to be. I do think they get out. I don't know about completely unscathed. I think they're going to have some scary moments, but I do think Arkansas wins out this weekend. I do, and I think they're gonna go on. They're going to advance to the Super Regionals. All right, I'll see you guys when I see you. Have a good rest of your weekend. If I don't see you then, all right? Okay. Roll the Patreon names. There they are. Look at them all. Look at that. Josh French, Alex Henderson, Austin, Brady, Lasuzzo, Justin Kipper, Tyler Edmondson, Anthony White, Daniel Hadley. Look at you. Doug Stubbs, who I left off. I apologize. He's there. July, Rob R., Jumpmaster Scott, Ramon Shiesty, Pwendell's on that list, Ed Hatcher, William Watkins, longtime supporter, Randall Hunt. Look at $20. Oh, my goodness. Jay Massey, Thomas Nunley, Timothy Wiesent in the $20 plus club. Look at you guys go. All right. I'll see you guys later. Woo pig.